بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. In Islam, all types of life are sacred and to be safeguarded. Even we cannot waste a flower, a plant. It's not moral. It's not good. I'm not saying it's a sin necessarily, but it's not good Islamically to be disregarding the value of life of a plant. So much emphasis has been put on looking after trees, giving them water. Even there is hadith that mentions a particular type of tree and says, that giving water to it, it's like giving water to a thirsty believer. Lots of hadith about farming. Or for example, if you have fruit trees and birds eat from that, it is sadaqah for you. If you are interested, I have a paper about environmental ethics from Islamic perspective. You can read these hadiths there. Our ulama have given fatwas about necessity of providing animals with food, drink, even medicine, shelter. Nowadays, some people speak about right for housing. We say even animals have right for housing. Even some ulamas have said that, it's not that others don't accept, but some have discussed this, that if your neighbor has an animal and he is not able to look after that animal, for example, he's absent or cannot afford, and that animal is in need of food or drink, you have to provide. For example, he has a cow or goat in need of food. You have to provide food, even if it doesn't belong to you. You cannot say, it's not mine, so I'm not responsible. In the same way that if someone's child is in need of food, you have to provide food. You cannot say, it's not my child. The same is with animals. You have to provide, even animals that belong to other people, because life is important. Life has to be respected. In that paper, I have also mentioned that in Islam, we are not supposed to kill animals except for two reasons. Either for food or to save our life. If an animal is attacking you and you have to protect yourself, your children, okay, you can defend yourself. Or if you are hunting or slaughtering to use as food, but hunting for just leisure is not accepted. And in Risala it says that if someone goes for hunting just for enjoying, salat is not becoming qasr. You have to do complete salat, because this is a sinful trip. That to go for hunting animals just because you enjoy, not that you are using for food. And Allama Muhammad Taqi Ja'fari has mentioned this, that this is the result of doing a survey on all our hadiths, that you cannot kill animals unless either they are used for food or they are dangerous and you want to save your life. So all different types of life are important, but when it comes to human life, it's very, very important. As we said, saving one life is like saving all humanity. Killing one person who is innocent is like killing all humanity. why human life is so important? Is it because of our body or because of our soul? For sure, it's because of our soul, because life is a quality of soul. But the sacredness of soul is extended to body. This person, because of the soul that he has, you have to respect also his body. Like when Allah created Adam and then created the soul for Adam, said, now do sajda. Okay, they did sajda for Adam with body and soul, but the main thing is the soul, which is nafakhtu fihi min ruhi. Not because of the body. Body without soul is not that important. The soul is important. But before soul is created, still we cannot do abortion. Normally our jurists say that, for example, after 120 days, then the soul is created. But even before that, you cannot abort the child. After, for example, 1 month, 2 months, you cannot say, okay, soul is not created, so we can abort the child. As soon as pregnancy starts, of course, they have clear definition of pregnancy, haml, then abortion is forbidden. Why? There is no soul. The answer is, it is true that there is no soul, but for the respect of human soul, you have to respect this embryo which has the potential of being a human being. If you have no respect for this, then you can kill all embryos, then no human soul will be created. So you have to respect. And therefore in Islamic fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence, we have fixed penalty for killing an embryo. If a mother kills her embryo or father kills the embryo, they have to pay blood money. This blood money increases according to the development of the embryo. When the embryo goes into different stages, it increases. Yes, there is a point in fiqh that if there is an emergency case, for example, if the life of mother is real danger, before the soul is born or created, there is a chance of permitting abortion. Because still we don't have a soul and life of a human being is in danger, so here abortion might be permitted. But when the soul is created, now we have two human beings. We cannot kill one for the sake of other. Yes, maybe if we know that both are going to die and we can only save one, maybe fuqaha permit. In the case that you are 100% sure that you cannot keep them. Either you save mother or you lose both. That's another issue. But after the soul, it's a human being and you have to respect. So, the respect for soul is extended to the body when there is soul, and to the body if even before creation of the soul. Yes.
When does the embryo have a soul?
I said normally say 120 days. After 100. But the amount of respect, as I said, is different. Before the soul is created is not as high as after that, and therefore the blood money is less. Also, after the soul departs body at the time of death, again this body is to be respected. because of that soul which was with this body. So when a person dies, you cannot say, okay, this is a dead body, we can do what we like. You have to treat dead body of a human being with full respect. You have to wash, you have to cover, you have to pray over it, you have to bury it with respect in a nice place. You cannot bury it in a rubbish place. You cannot give it to animals to eat. You cannot burn it. Even you cannot cut the body. There is a hadith I have mentioned in the paper on bioethics, which says anything which is haram to be done to a living person is haram to be done to a dead person. Yes.
What about organ donations? Now ulama are encouraging.
Yeah, in the paper this discussed. But briefly, organ donation, yeah, that's different. Organ donation is not a problem unless it puts your life into danger.
Yeah, this is after death.
After death is not a problem. Indeed, some ulama, like Ayatollah Khamenei says, sometimes becomes wajib. If life of someone can be saved, you have to donate. The problem is when you are alive or when you are in the state of brain death, depending whether we accept brain death or not. So, the hadith says, whatever is forbidden to be done to a living person is forbidden to be done to a dead person. What does it mean? I cannot take a knife and injure your body. Okay? Even if someone has died, again, I cannot take a knife and injure the body. It's haram. You cannot say, okay, we want to, see how the human body, is built. Yes, if it is to find out, for example, that whether this person was killed, there's a suspicion of murder, then we need to go for biopsy, whatever, then that is a secondary issue. Or if medical students need to do research and only as much as needed, they need to, use body to, corpse of dead people. That's another issue, and there are also many details, about what type of body to use. I don't want to go into details. These are all mentioned in the paper. But if there is no overriding reason, you have to totally respect and don't do anything to the body. Even there is a hadith which says that if you do something to a dead body which would have caused death if it was alive. For example, if there is a dead person, you remove his heart. You have to pay blood money. It's dead, but still you have to pay blood money. You know how far is Islam from what some people in the name of Islam are doing today? Islam says even a dead person you cannot, do anything harmful. One person asked Imam Kazim alayhi salam about the hadith that he had heard from Imam Sadiq that in such cases blood money, diya, has to be paid. He said, is it correct? Imam alayhi salam said, yes, this is correct. Then he said, how much should be paid? Now this is very important. Should it be equal to a person who is alive, or is different? What do you expect to be the answer? Pardon? No. Imam alayhi salam said, it has to be equal to the blood money that has to be paid for the embryo before soul is created. Because you have a period when you have body and soul. That is the maximum. Before that, you have body without soul, and after this, again, you have body without soul. These two are the same. It's very logical. Then, Imam alayhi salam was asked a second question about to whom we give this blood money. Look, how Islam is answering everything. Imam said, that person who was not yet born, indeed it was not a person, not yet, given the soul. The blood money is given to warathe, means to those who inherit. So for example, father, mother, or if mother has done this, so father, if father has done this, mother, so it will be given to the people who inherit. But this dead person, if such a thing is done to his body or her body, the blood money is for him or her. You do good things on his behalf. And the hadith is this. It's very beautiful. If you want, the hadith is in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 101, page 425. It's also in the paper. Imam alayhi salam said, إن الجنين أمر مستقبل مرجو نفعه. That embryo is something which is yet potential. And those people were waiting for this janin to become a person, to become a child. But it was not himself a person. وهذا, but this person who has died, أمر قد مضى وذهبت منفعته. This is a person who has died. Whatever the family wanted to benefit from him, they have benefited from him. Now you have to do something for himself. So Imam says, يُحَجُّ بِهَا عَنْهُ وَيُفْعَلُ بِهَا أَبْوَابُ الْخَيْرِ وَالْبِرِّ مِنْ صَدَقَةٍ أَوْ غَيْرِهِ. Hajj can be performed on his behalf. Sadaqah can be given on his behalf. Something good must be done with this money for the dead person. So, this shows how much respect we have for human life, that even after someone dies, still we have to respect the body. If people learn these things, then they cannot even kill an animal. How they can kill, a human being so easily? It's impossible. Another discussion in this unit is how a person can be better than another person. In the course of history, and unfortunately even today, sometimes preference is given because of ethnic background. There was a time that there was a slavery. And although today officially it has stopped, but still some form of slavery still can exist. People think that because of being, for example, from certain race or ethnic background, they are better. Unfortunately, sometimes even philosophers have justified this. Some of the great philosophers, I don't want to mention the name, they have tried to justify a slavery by saying that God has created, or they say nature has created white people with more mental capacity, and for example, black people with more physical capacity. So it means that the nature is dictating that white people should use black people to work for them. So they want to justify everything, in this way. Or sometimes people give preference to someone because of being rich, or because of coming from a noble family, But Islam, right from the beginning, was very clear in this issue. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right from the beginning, mentioned that all human beings are equal in humanity. Neither Arabs can say we are better, nor Ajam than Arabs. No white or black or yellow or red, no one can say I am better. If there is anything to make someone better, it's taqwa, is piety. And this is also rooted in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'il lita'arafu. Inna akramakum inda Allah atqakum. Allah says, we have created you from a man and woman. Then we made you into different tribes and nations so that you know each other. The best among you are those who are more pious. Or in another place, Allah says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ. One of his signs is that you have different languages, different colors. In January, I think it was 19th of January, for the birth anniversary of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I gave a lecture in Greece, in Athens, about this issue, about Islamic understanding of diversity and harmony, and it is on YouTube also. So I have mentioned something that I think unfortunately is not receiving enough attention. I said, according to the Quran, in the way that I understand, this diversity of humanity was in order to serve unity of humanity, not division. He has created us in different nations and different color, different languages, so that we can better relate to each other. If we were all the same, then how could we make relations? And I gave this example in that meeting. You know, it was a meeting, Muslims, Sunni, Shia, Christians, ambassadors, different people were there. And I mentioned this example. I said, if we want to have a very good city, so all the people of this city can be united and working together for the improvement of their city. Okay? It is good that you have one reason for making this city very good. Maybe people in another city, they don't have that much, interest in this city. You belong to this city, so you have more reason to work hard for the betterment of this city. But people of other cities also should feel the same. So every city, people should work hard to make their city better. Then, if all these cities which are improved work together to make the whole country better, then we have a very good country. So, you should not say to people, forget your city and work for the country. Or work for your city and forget country. No. Work for your city and for your country. Both of them. Because if I say I just want to improve my country, then my attention would be divided into whole country. Then I would have not kept that additional reason that I have for my own city. It's like, for example, we Muslims, we can have, for example, hard work to unite ourselves, but this doesn't mean that I should forget my own family, my own, for example, Iranian community, Khoja community, Pakistani community. We don't need to forget that. we can unite these small families, communities, but at the same time, everyone at the service of the unity of the Ummah, and then unity of all believers in God and humanity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed these differences لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you know each other better. You make friendship. So unfortunately, we have lost the whole point. We have missed the point. The point was not to fight. The point was to better relate. You know, like for example, today, if all world looked the same, then you didn't have the pleasure of traveling and knowing of other cultures, different customs, different, food, different dress. Yeah? So we shouldn't use this as a reason to say, I am better, you are better. We should use this as a richness to keep humanity together. As you know, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam in his letter to Malik Ashtar said, you must let your heart be full of mercy for your citizens. And then he said, people are one of the two. إما أخ لك في الدين أو نذير لك في الخلق. Either they are your brother in faith or similar to you in humanity. If they are Muslims, so you are brothers in Islam. If they are not Muslims, still they are human beings. They are like you in humanity. So you find always some reason to be kind to people. To be human is good reason. If on top of that someone shares with you more, so you have a stronger reason. When Islam delivered this message of unity and this message of equality, and said that the only way to be treated with more privilege is if you are more pious or more knowledgeable, then some people resisted because they had very, unfortunately, a strong, idea in their mind of racism. Some people were very angry to see Bilal, who was a black slave, freed, is given so much, attention by the Prophet. He is, one of his major companions, and the Prophet asked him to say azan. And it is interesting that Bilal was not the one who had the most beautiful voice. A person has very beautiful voice. He was not even able to pronounce one letter properly. But Rasulullah found piety, purity in Bilal. And this is important. Of course, he was not Imam of Jama'ah. Imam of Jama'ah, of course, you put someone who can recite everything. So, some people were very angry to see Bilal has been asked by Rasulullah on the day of the conquest of Mecca to go on top of Kaaba and say azan. In the book there is a story that Harith ibn Hisham protested. He said to his friend, didn't Rasulullah find anyone better than this black crow? So this racism was still in the mind of them even after Islam, because these people didn't always deeply accept Islam. Some of them very quickly came to Islam, but still they had ideas from ignorance from the time of Jahiliyyah. And this caused lots of problems also after the Prophet. They used to protest Rasulullah, object Rasulullah. But Rasulullah was not paying attention. Rasulullah was treating everyone with respect. Whether that person is Arab, non-Arab, black, white. Even he was not giving himself a privilege. When people used to go to Medina from outside, they couldn't find who is Rasulullah by looking at his, dress or for example, who has lots of security, who is sitting on, for example, a chair. He was sitting in circle with people. He didn't have any special, privilege. Yes, the way he was speaking, the light was different, but nothing physical was giving Prophet privilege. Another thing that Islam was very clear and explicit about was about equality between men and women. So all human races are equally human. If someone can be better, it's because of taqwa or knowledge. The same is men and women. The pagans at that time, in addition to having problem of slavery, they also very much mistreated women. They looked at women like some goods to buy and sell, something that you own. They didn't have respect. Also, they used to bury their daughters alive, as you know. The Quran says, when someone was given the news that your wife has delivered a girl, ظَلَّ وَجْهُ مُسْوَدًّا. His face was becoming dark. Why? I have been given a daughter. And they used to bury them alive. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, men and women are the same in humanity. The amount of respect Rasulullah showed to his wife was not acceptable to that society. But Rasulullah changed them. Rasulullah had lots of respect for Lady Khadija even years after her demise. If Rasulullah was seeing someone who was a friend of Khadija, still Rasulullah was respecting her a special way, because that was a friend of Khadija. The respect that Rasulullah had for Lady Fatima was very special. Rasulullah was standing up when Lady Fatima was going to her. No. For a man who is leader, who is prophet, to stand up in front of his daughter was not acceptable. Sometimes people do these things in our age to show off. But Rasulullah was not showing off, because Rasulullah was being criticized for these things. When he was showing respect to children, he was criticized. A person saw Rasulullah kissed his grandchildren. He said, I have never kissed my children in life. How can a man kiss his children? This is a sign of weakness. You must not kiss your children. Then Rasulullah said, Man la yarham, la yurham. If you don't show mercy, you will not be shown mercy. Rasulullah used to even play with children of other people. This story is very beautiful, that Rasulullah was going with his companions. Some children stopped him and said, you should play with us. You play with your grandchildren, you must play with us. He didn't say, you are children, I am an old person, I am a prophet, I am busy, people are waiting for me. No. He started playing with them, but also asked Bilal to go and bring something. When Bilal came, he brought, some walnut, something. Rasulullah said to those children, are you ready to get this and release me? They said yes. Then Rasulullah said, I was sold cheaper than Yusuf. So, in that society, this was not praised. You have to understand this. In that society, this was very highly criticized by the arrogant people who had power, who had money. But Rasulullah was not bothering about these issues. He was respecting children, women, people who have different ethnic backgrounds, respecting everyone, showing love to everyone. And this is how he managed to change that society over 23 years. A society in which they used to kill their daughters, Rasulullah changed them to a society that they used to die for each other. In one of the battles, a person went to give water to one of the soldiers who was injured. He said, "Give to my brother, who is also injured and thirsty." He went to the second person, he said, "Give to my brother." By the time he reached the last one, he had died. Then he went back, found all of them dead. So they prefer to die and not take water for themselves. He pumped so much love and rahmah to this society that changed them. But unfortunately, when he went away, when that was not pumped, some of them went back. So, Islam has a clear message that men and women should be respected and treated justly. Of course, we have some different rulings and some common rulings. Common rulings are maybe 80% of Sharia are the same. But there are issues that are different because there are differences in human beings when it comes to gender. If we treat women like men or treat men like women, so we are not showing respect to their distinctive feature. Each of them has something common and something distinctive. We have to have plan for both of them. If you have a daughter and a son, you must not treat them the same. Your son, in addition to common needs that he has some extra need. You have to train him in the way that he can be a strong person in future, to be a father, to be head of a family. And you have to train your daughter so that she can be a caring, loving mother, wife. If you train your daughter like your son, either both of them will have bad future, if you want to take the average. So neither they will be good father nor good mother. Or if you want to train one of them like the other, then your daughter becomes like a man or your son becomes like a woman. We have to consider distinctive features in addition to the common features. So Islam has common rulings and specific rulings. Unfortunately, some people think that if women do whatever men do, then they are liberated. So if I say to my wife that I am responsible for your welfare, you don't need to worry about income, she is not free. But if I say that you have to also bring 50% of income, then she is free. If I say I do all the hard work, she is not free. But if I say that you have to do hard work as well, then she is free. They don't understand that this is not a fair treatment. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-mar'atu rayhana wa laysat biqahramana." Woman is like a flower. A woman is not a wrestler. You have to treat a flower like a flower. If there is any threat, any danger, any risk, you have to volunteer for that and keep your daughter, your mother, your sister, your wife away. If there is any joy, give it first to the ladies. You know, in Islam, it says that if you go to a trip and bring souvenirs, first give to your daughter. Because she needs more and quicker attention. So, we have some different rulings just because they have some different also features. But when it comes to perfection, when it comes to closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's the same. Every person, woman or man can become a role model. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, ضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِمْرَأَةَ فِرْعَوْنَ. Allah says, the example for believing men, of course, can be believing men and women, but amanu is especially for men in the first place. So for believing men and women, the example is wife of Pharaoh. It's not only for women, for men and women. Or وَمَرْيَمَ ابْنَةَ Imran in the next verse. Lady Mary is example for all. So a woman can reach very high positions that even most of the men cannot reach. Lady Fatima Salamullah alayha was such high that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that whenever we have a special request from Allah, we do tawassul to Lady Fatima. So because of her, we ask Allah to give us our hajat. Or another Imam says that Li fibnata Rasulullah uswah. Lady Fatima is an example, role model for me. Our Imams looked at her as a role model, not just a mother. That's a role model. So a woman can be that high. So to observe hijab is not a matter of saying that you don't have, chance of perfection, or you are not, treated favorably. Indeed, if you understand the way Islam look at hijab, not the way that some people who have no knowledge think about it. The way that Islam looks at hijab, hijab is a privilege. Hijab is a dress of honor that Allah has given to believing women. In a paper called Hijab and Family Life in Message of Thaqalain, I mentioned few arguments why hijab is a dress of honor. For example, why a woman, when she is alone at home and is going to pray, should have hijab? There is no one there. Or there is mahram, father, husband. But why she should have hijab? Because this hijab is your dress of honor. When someone gives you dress of honor, whenever you meet him, you should put on this dress. Why slaves were not required, the maids were not required to observe hijab. It was possible for them to have hijab, but it was not obligatory. If hijab was a matter of restriction, so maids were supposed to be asked to do hijab and free women to say you can, and leave hijab. But Islamically, those who were free had to observe hijab. For the rest was optional. If hijab was a matter of restriction, the family of the Prophet had to have less hijab. But they observed hijab more than wajib. Even Yazid was asking his wife and daughter to have hijab. Because hijab was a matter of honor. If someone didn't have hijab, it was a sign of being humiliated. Like for example, if today you ask a man, to become naked, you are not freeing him. You are, humiliating. So hijab is like that. But unfortunately, people don't get it right. So there are some differences in Islam about some rulings, but the potential for perfection is available for both men and women. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Man amila salihan." In Surah Nahl, "Man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha, wa huwa mu'min, falanuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyibah." Everyone who has faith and righteous deeds, whether in man or woman, we give that person a pleasant life, which is Allama Tabatabai saying is a second life. In addition to the physical life, you will be given a spiritual life. Zakar or and وَلَنَجْزِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْرَهُمْ بِأَحْسَنِ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And we will reward them according to the best of their deeds. So, in Islam, we don't have any place for racism, and we don't have any place for discrimination against women or against men. Sometimes, even men can be discriminated against. Neither we should discriminate against men nor against women. Everyone should be given opportunity to flourish, opportunity to move towards perfection. وآخر دعوانا